I'm Melat Kassahun. I'm a second year at Mesa College, and I'm currently studying cognitive science. Like very unconnected hobbies. I love art made by Black women. Like that's my thing. Going around museums and just looking at art there. Something I'm proud of accomplishing, I would say, it was my work with the Ethiopian community. Specifically, it was working with parents who have kids that have autism or other developmental disorders. And something that pushed me to, get more into it was my mom has my brother who has autism, and she didn't have any resources at all. There wasn't translation resources. There wasn't, a place where my brother could belong at school. So I went there to translate. I'm definitely involved. He treats me he's like, oh my gosh, don't be like my mom. I already have one. He's like, he gives me a lot of sass. But I do a lot of translation. My mom's first language is Amharinya, and I know some Amharinya, so I go to his IP and do translations. And I also go to school meetings with her, parent resource meetings, and that's where I met these two Ethiopian women whose entire job is distributing resources to other Ethiopian, Eritrean, Aboriginal women. And I worked with another kid who's in the same spot as me, and we worked together and tried to do that locally in San Diego because they do it on a more national scale. Yeah, that actually was a tangent that happened because of my community work with the parents who have children with autism. They are a group that serves Ethiopian and Eritrean immigrants and refugees, and they saw that need for educational resources, and they had just had no information for local Ethiopian and Eritrean people. So me and that friend of mine, we went there and we said, we'll hold a couple meetings every month, and we'll gather parents there, and we'll bring speakers or distribute resources so we can at least have some information circulating locally. And that actually led to me having a job there. So now I work with the youth and the women there. I would say it was Professor Tunji. She's an amazing professor and a mentor. Her course actually inspired me to dive deeper into Black history. I would say my hardest challenge was before I moved to San Diego. That was a period of time where my mom, was struggling to raise my brother as a single parent, raise me and my brother as a single parent. And we noticed that all the resources, the therapy appointments were all in wealthier sides of town. We would have to make that travel. And on top of that, we were kind of treated as less than in those spaces because, of course, my mom doesn't speak English perfectly, and they also treated my brother as less than. So it was hard to find resources that were, quality, that also respects us when we go there. So that was a really difficult time. And my brother also moved around schools. He got kicked out of a lot of schools, especially in those areas. So that was a difficult time for me, but it's also what inspired me to get more involved. I feel when I think of leaders, you don't really think of introverts. I'm very introverted and very timid. So at first I just didn't see myself doing anything. But I was compelled by my situation to do something. And I knew I can do something other than step into that extroverted, talk to the public kind of role. If it's, staying after school and maybe talking to another kid who's in the same situation as me, because there's actually plenty of people in my community who had siblings with autism or a sibling with any kind of disability. But I just learned to build off of these small things I can do and that led me to be confident enough to take these leadership positions. That was actually really unexpected. That wasn't something we were planning. So there's a place in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, called the Nehemiah Autism Center, and that was actually a mother from America. She went there with her son and opened up a place for autistic children in Ethiopia. So my mom was like connected with her. She really like supported her, and we also wanted to support her as well because it's a really difficult thing to do, especially financially. So during COVID, a lot of those families who went there and had their children go to that center couldn't travel there because of COVID, and they didn't want their kid to be sick. So me and that friend of mine, his name is Ryan, he wanted to collab with the community, the Ethiopian community, like those two women who helped the parents with children with autism. We connected with that whole community. Every single Facebook group we reached out to, and it was a GoFundMe page. And like within 5-6 months, it went from like 1,000 to 16,000. So everyone we knew contributed. I think everyone they knew contributed, and that just led to this exponential amount of money. So it was totally unplanned, but we were really glad that we were able to help. Mentioned before was that leadership doesn't have to look like big positions or speaking in front of people, because I can't do that for the life of me. But it can just look like, I like take photos of like free tutoring, like I'll send it to group chats with parents in it. Like those are the kind of things I know definitely impacted someone. That mom in the moms group is definitely going to that tutoring session. So that's what I think everyone should, like be reassured, like you're making a difference. Just know like whatever you do, like even if it's like go to a club for 1 meeting or 2 meetings and maybe participate in this organization, as much as you can. Those moments are like enough. If you do what you can, like that's more than enough. I want to have like my community, like the REC community, have more connections with like technology, because there's a lack of resources for technology. Like a lot of stuff that you do, like if you're filling out applications online, like you need to be on a computer, and those computers, like the way they set them up, the websites don't allow you to really submit things and turn things in if you don't know how to like use it already. So it's a really big obstacle for a lot of people. So I want to create more accessible technology, and maybe work for like an NGO